I have fond memories of Christmas, waking up early to shout or shouts of Merry Christmas from friends and family. I remember going to church, dressed in new clothes and shoes, eating chapati, my favorite African dish, chicken, buttered bread, and of course, no work all day. Welcome to African Mom's World. It's that time of the year when we have lots of things going on, a lot of festivities, a lot of celebrations, because it's just a few days before we jump into 2025 and we are all excited. Christmas time gives us an opportunity to focus on Christ, the reason for the season. I don't know how you celebrate it in your country, but let me explain to you how things are going on over this period of Christmas in Kenya, because it's one of the most serious occasions of the year. There's all this last minute rush. There's all this increase in anxiety as people rush back to their rural homes to spend time with their loved ones. People going for holiday. And it's a hype of activity. This year is no exception. As usual, the highway from Nairobi to Nakuru and from Nairobi to Mai Mahiu, so many Kenyans spend long hours in the traffic jam. Having passed through such an experience in the year 2011, and I was with children going back home, spending so many hours on the road because of this traffic jam, I actually changed my home visits and do this either in April or in August. So on 20th December, there was this graduation in Kabarak University, which is in Nakuru County. And my nephew was graduating with a degree in law. So I was forced to travel the same day for the graduation ceremony. I left home at 8 a.m. But when I got to town, the cars or the jam was already piling up, and I had already booked my vehicle or my transport to go to Nakuru. So there's no way I could cancel this trip. You know, a place that we normally pay 600 Kenya shillings, the prices had already been hiked and I had to cough 1,200 Kenya shillings. Imagine times 2. That was not good. Things were getting even worse, leave alone that hike in the fare or the transport. But getting to the highway from town was a nightmare because it started raining and there was a significant surge in traffic. I could not imagine that I was caught up again in this mess that I experienced in 2011. That is several years back. And so we had to pass through the bush. Actually, it was through villages, trying to avoid the major highway and make some movement. I thought there was a significant relocation to the counties by several people moving back to the rural areas. I actually thought that there are not so many families that are still in the city of Nairobi. I was surprised that Nairobi still had so many people. And as you can see from the video, there was a lot of traffic jam, coupled with the rain, and then it became misty. Oh my God, this was a nightmare. There was so much overlapping. Even the police, who had been strategically stationed at different intervals along the road to ensure the smooth flow, could not manage. It is at this time that I realized Kenyans are generally not patient people, and everyone wanted their space. In the process, this caused a lot of congestion and confusion too, Some people slept on the road. I was lucky to make it to Nakuru by 6:30. Imagine a journey that would normally take 2.5 hours. I took 10.5 hours. Just imagine. That was terrible. That was indeed terrible. I hope that Kabarak University considers their graduation dates, because you can imagine the stress both the parents and friends and graduates passed through since they had traveled for the graduation. This was a big nightmare. In fact, it interfered with the joy of graduation. I wish the government as well could do something to ease this traffic, because it's something that continues every year. They would actually do this by easing the trucks that always pass through that road and give them a separate road off the main highway. At the same time, even this road could be expanded, not necessarily the whole of it if it's too expensive, but do this at the places that are normally congested, because they're just known places. And this would open up the whole place. Otherwise, I took time to enjoy the beautiful scenery along the road, taking a closer look at the vegetation, the lakes, and had a great time making new friends as we traveled together. And as you can see from the scenery, Kenya is a beautiful country, especially along this highway, Nairobi, to Nakuru and beyond, although I'm only showing you up to Nakuru where I was seated. So let's enjoy the journey. I was taking the video while in public transport, so you can see it's a bit bumpy. But as you can see, if you're keen, we have a lot of crops, actually many crops. Maize, there was a lot of peas as well. I realized that eucalyptus trees are very famous here. A lot of shrubs as well. And this made the journey a little more interesting. But look at the roads. We're passing through the villages. And there was a lot of thicket inside here. But looks really nice living in the countryside. This area has had a lot of rain. And this is where we get most of the food. A lot of napier grass as well, because they keep animals, mainly cows. And as you may have noticed, we also have sheep. In fact, these are merino sheep. Look at the flowers. I really enjoyed these flowers by the roadside. I know people around there may not realize how beautiful the place is, but it was really nice. I wouldn't mind living in such a place, would you? With plenty of food, plenty of rainfall. Yeah, but I can imagine this cold. It is extremely cold. Let's enjoy the ride. And so after we had passed through the villages, we thought we had made a lot of progress. We passed through this small town It actually looks like a very rural town. I don't know its name, but look at the road. And cars, we are now seeing many cars again. It is at this point that I realized that we are just at the same place, not far from where we branched off. We just have taken another route. Sometimes when we talk about shortcuts, it could actually be a long cut because you can see the cars just on the other side. That's actually the highway. And now we can see the traffic has piled up, not only on the side going to Nakuru, but also to Nairobi. So there's just a problem. There's a standstill, and we are back to the same problem at the highway. Trying now to get onto the highway so that we cross to the other side and join the other travelers now to Nakuru. You can see even the buses there. And you can imagine like this bus here, which is called Easy Coach, the one that has maroon there, is all the way from Western Kenya, meaning they left very early. This is very interesting. In fact, this car I'm telling you is not very early. These are the people who left at around 8 p.m. in the evening and should have arrived in Nairobi very early, but they have not. So just look at where these cars are. Some people just decided to park. Just park and wait for the traffic jam. But I assure you, this one is not stopping now. Some people will have to sleep on the road because the traffic is not moving. You can see the lorries. Look at them. I don't know what we can do because this is actually a nightmare. But well, we have been waiting for the rains and here they are. A lot of rainfall. So we thank God that the rains are back, our crops can grow well. But on the other hand, when it rains in Kenya, there's a lot of panic. Let's enjoy the scenery as we head to Nakuru. You can see the ship on the side there and the trees. I really like these trees, eucalyptus trees. You know, it just shows how people invest. This is a long-term investment. This is beautiful scenery just by the roadside. I don't know why we don't have any grass growing around here. It's actually, this is just mud, but it looks really nice. It looks like as if it has been landscaped, but no, I think this is just a natural place. This is how it looks naturally, just by the side of the road. Oh, and then on this side we have grass. So definitely somebody interfered with the other area that we have seen. And you know, this is quite a stretch. It will go very far, where we just have these trees, sheep grazing on the side, and cars misbehaving. They're actually veering off the main road and causing more jam. So I decided to focus just on the vegetation now. I hope you can see that with me. This is a very nice place. But look at the traffic. This is how bad it got. Just look at that. People are now out of their cars because there's really nothing you can do. Just stand out in the cold and pray that it opens up. At this time, I was hungry, I was thirsty, I was tired, and all I could do was to sympathize with myself. I wish I had actually not just come on this day. This was terrible. My knees were now aching, and my head as well, because I was seated where there was a lot of sun through the window. But when it got cold, it got very cold. So at some points we had a lot of sun, but mainly it was cold. Just look at me. Thinking until I can think no more. Anyway, at least I could see that people are doing business here. This is a spinach farm. A lot of spinach has been planted here. And I think this is where we get our vegetables from in Nairobi, and those going to Nakuru as well. These indigenous trees, they look so nice. I think you'll agree with me that they look really nice. Let's enjoy our trip headed to Nakuru. And so we reached this small town again. I don't know what it is called, but we were just about to reach Nakuru. A lot of timber yards, a few shops, and it had really rained. So most people actually were in gumboots. You know, it's very interesting when people are in a town and they're putting on gumboots. You know, it's an agricultural town. Look at this. A lot of potholes. And this time, because it has rained, there is a lot of water. But the clouds, just look at the clouds. It's going to rain, it's still going to rain. But anyway, we are headed to Nakuru, and this now becomes a little familiar. You can see petrol stations, or you call them gas stations. And you can see a mountain on the other side. I think this is Longonot. Yeah, as if you can see a crater at the top. And because it's misty and cloudy, it's not easy to see exactly how it looks at the top.